England are in action tonight against Italy. We'll head back to Friday. Jesse Lingard scoring the goal of the game, the only goal of the game. First of all, how was it, Danny? Good watch?
Yeah, it's a great watch, yeah. No, I watched the highlights, Joe, I'll be honest with you, because I was working over at the Etihad
There wasn't any
for
highlights
the Italy. Yeah, I watched all 47 seconds of the highlights. And I have seen the highlights, got an idea of, it was pretty much what we're expecting from England. I think we're going into another World Cup tournament with very, very little optimism. I think.
No, it's difficult, isn't it?
It's so difficult because, we were talking off air a couple of minutes ago that it is a bang average squad, isn't it? You know what I mean? You're looking at the likes of Henderson and Oxlade-Chamberlain and people like that in your midfield. Germany and Argentina and Spain, they must be licking the lips. Obviously we invented the game.
Iceland.
And Iceland, of course, Mick. All right, Mickey. All right, no need for that. Even a United player scored in that, Mick, as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Jesse Lingard getting the only goal of the game. Yeah.
There is hope then.
And a good goal of that, as it was a good finish.
Good finish.
Does Gareth Southgate inspire you, Danny?
Yeah, Mickey's sat next to me shaking his head. It's hard, isn't it? Because, we only see in the meet. Apparently Gareth Southgate behind the scenes is a pretty, good guy, pretty motivated.
Yeah.
But you just don't really see that persona. Every interview he gives, every time you see him or hear him on the TV or radio, he just sounds drab, And
Can I ask you the big question? If he came out just from you having a bad game, could he get that aggression towards you, say, come on, I want more from you?
I'm sure he could. I'm sure he's got... I don't think you get to be given the England manager job. I thought, he served his apprenticeship in the under-21s. He got given a chance, which a lot of people were petitioning for because everyone wants an English manager.
No one else was there, though, Daniel.
All right, Mickey.
It's really true. Who else will get there? Yeah. All I'm saying is that these international periods come for us as football fans. They come as a bit of an inconvenience for us, and they just pop up.
Big time.
Come quite a lot in September and November, but now we've got one in March, and it's kind of the time where you get slightly excited because once every 4 years the World Cup is here, and I don't know about you, but when it's on, it's just great as a football fan because there's football all day, every day. It's the only time you get to the pub and you can see your mate who's a City fan, and you and him can be cheering for the same
football together.
You and him can be cheering for the same thing. The pubs are rammed, but World Cup final, England are in it. Gareth Southgate does not seem like the manager to me who has a World Cup final speech in him before the guys go out.
I think we've got to give him a chance, haven't we? Like I say, he's served his apprenticeship. Would he inspire me from what I've seen of him in the media? No, he really wouldn't. Hopefully the players feel differently, but these are multi-millionaire Premier League, top level footballers. Did he need motivating for a World Cup? Surely it's just about putting that shirt on, walking out, singing that. I've got goosebumps now, Joe, thinking about the idea of just being like Mick has with Wales. Obviously Mick's played for Wales. What's it like, Mick? That feeling of representing your country. Do you need inspiring, or should you be motivated enough?
It's important about you don't need any motivation. You're in the biggest tournament in the world, aren't you? Everyone's watching around the world. To put a national shirt on, it's incredible, but England don't do it for some reason. I don't know. They get there and as usual, they disappoint, don't they?
Do you ever pinpoint the reason why, Danny? Do you ever watch the reason? Is it the chemistry in the players? Is it the way that they play? Is it what? There's nothing really missing. They've got good players.
It's difficult. You've got good players. You see what you've said there, Joe. He's bang on. They're good, but are they great? Have we got? We talked about Wales. Obviously the squad isn't a great squad, but they've got one game-changing, world-class player. Being honest, obviously there's a few City players in the squad, and I just couldn't really still think of one that to me would stand out as top 5 in the world. And I don't think we've had that, probably even back to maybe the Beckham days when Beckham was in his pomp. Maybe, okay, you could probably say he was in that category, but we've always had decidedly average squads, and I think we just do enough to qualify for tournaments. And then when we're in tournaments, we flatter to deceive, don't we? We get the European Championship getting drawn against Iceland, and everyone's like, well, these are the whooping boys, we'll take these out. And then we typically get beat by them. Am I going into this World Cup as a fan excited by the prospect of us winning it? I'm not. If we can get through the group, I think we will.
So who will win? Who's the favourite?
Well, that's the big question. If you put your money on someone now, if you could have a bet now, who would it be?
Do you really want to put my money on it?
Maybe
as long as it's legit, mate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think I think one team.
Go on,
Go on.
You probably disagree with what I'm going to say, but dark horses, Belgium.
Do you think Belgium?
How dark are Belgium? Yeah,
they are quite a good team. They've got a very solid squad. Kevin De Bruyne has had an unbelievable season this season. Company at the back.
The goalkeeper.
Good goalkeeper.
Courtois,
Hazard.
Yeah, they have got good players.
Nainggolan.
Did you say Fellaini then, Danny?
Vertonghen.
You said Fellaini then, didn't you,
I didn't say Bob Bushhead. There's no chance. Them words never came out of my mouth.
You wouldn't fancy them or not? Would you fancy Belgium?
Without doubt. But again, Belgium are a little bit like Argentina. I was at the Etihad on Friday night watching the Argentina-Italy game, and, all right, Messi didn't play, but they are littered with world-class players in the Argentina squad. But yet they're yet again another country that flatter to deceive, don't they? They don't ever seem to quite get the chemistry right on the pitch. And I think Belgium are exactly the same. I mean, again, if you talk about wanting a manager that can lead them sort of players and inspire them, I mean, Roberto Martinez, I mean, he's stealing a little.
He got Wigan to an FA Cup final.
Well, and beat us as well. Remember? All right, Joe. I thought you were neutral.
I've not said anything.
I'm going to hit you in this microphone.
I just said, do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember it. But I mean, again, Roberto Martinez is hardly the creme de la creme of management. I mean, he's managing these players that, oh my God, what a squad they've got. Yep. But did they ever seem to get it right? I mean, they seem to lose games where you're thinking, how has that happened? They've got the great players, but again, when you said about chemistry, maybe they need the right manager in there to put it all together. Whether Martinez is one, I don't know. My pick, I mean, I have to go with my mate Andrew, sat in the studio with us here. I think I'd have to go for Germany. I know it's boring. I know they're efficient, but
efficient.
For me, you need strong midfields, and I've got an abundance of midfielders.
Did you see anything on the weekend that might suggest Argentina might be up for it?
If I'm honest, mate, no. I mean, they beat Italy 2-0. You looked at the two teams before kick-off, you probably would have said Italy were the stronger side. Buffon was out, and Bonucci and players like that. Obviously, Messi wasn't playing, Aguero wasn't playing. I think they had in the squad 5 players that ply the trade in the Argentinian leagues, which I've never even heard of. But they have got that mixed with incredible talent. But again, they just, maybe it's because I'm so used to watching the vintage football at City at the moment that I went to the Etihad and watched Italy and Argentina and wasn't blown away by either, really. No.
Do you know what? I saw some clips of the England goal, and there was people suggesting that Pep has had an influence in the way England are playing. As it started from the back, it started from the back, and it worked the way up, and then a goal was created at the other end. Do you think
has that statement ever been said about Jose Mourinho, Nick?
Well, no. I tell you what was one of the first
maybe
statements.
Afghanistan or something.
I tell you what Gary Owen said. I remember this way back. He said when Gary Owen was in charge of the Spanish squad in 2008, Spain won the World Cup. No, 2012. Right. Oh, no, 10. That was the World Cup. 2010, Spain won the World Cup. Then he had a German squad in 2014. They won the World Cup. Right. And I was in charge of an English squad. 2018. Are England going to win the World Cup?
Oh, God. Don't put your money on it, Joe. You confuse the life out of me, if I'm honest.
It's one of the first things Gary said on this show when we started this season. And you could see, I can get what people are saying in the way that England play football, but it's just not got the squad.
As England, I mean, you look at City's squad, I mean, compared to an England squad, it's not the quality there, is there? I mean, obviously, we got some decent players in there, but, I mean, I'd love to say, I think we've got a chance. I mean, I think if we're realistic, if we got to a semi-final, I think you probably deem that as a pretty decent tournament for us. But again, would you put money on it, Joe?
No,
would you?
Not a chance. You wouldn't put money on it as well. I feel like it's lacking leadership and a captain.
Yeah. Well, who is it over the years? You've had the likes of
even Rooney,
Terry and Beckham,
and Rooney you might not like, but he is a presence on the pitch. But now you got Henderson, who I just
Jordan
don't
Henderson,
think,
Mickey,
as a captain World Cup. I mean, Mickey's face.
You could do and I'm 63. No, I think England, though. I just think they have that stigma against them of being failures, haven't they?
Yeah.
They have done since 66, and maybe the pressure's too much for them, I don't know. But going to Russia is not going to be all plain sailing anyway, because one or two things, obviously, the VAR is coming into play in it as well. That might be an advantage to England. You don't know. They've had bad luck in the past, haven't they? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't back England. I wouldn't. Not because I'm Welsh, but I wouldn't back them because I don't think there's anything there for me to say, yeah, they look serious contenders.
But I suppose the exciting thing about the World Cup, not just about England, is there is a lot of teams that are capable of winning it this time round. Like you mentioned Belgium, we mentioned Germany, you know, Spain are always there or thereabouts. Argentina have got the potential. So actually, I think if you look to the betting, there isn't really one that you would necessarily say a standout winner. So that might make the tournament interesting.
Which just make it good. No one's talking about Brazil either. You know, they've got a good squad.
Well, they smashed Russia, didn't they, 3-0 the other night? And, you know, I think that's going to be the problem for Russia. I mean, they're a pretty average squad team anyway, but when you've not had them competitive fixtures, I mean, they haven't had to qualify for this.
Is it all about the draw as well? You get the right draw.
Well, yeah. I mean,
England have got Belgium.
Top, yeah.
And you think that might be...
Thanks, Mick. Thanks for bringing that
up. Also, a talking point happens to be the goalkeeper. Pickford played in this game, did a good job as well, kept a clean sheet. However, Gareth Southgate's come out and said, you know, Pickford might not be our number one. It might be Joe Hart. Might be the guy in the goal. Danny, do you still have that feelings towards Joe Hart? He was a City legend. Could he still be England's number one? Do you think maybe time is...
what? I'd love to say, give Joe... I mean, how many times has he let himself down for England? I mean, he has done a few, let's be honest. So I think it's... I mean, when you go off league form, and I know Southgate, when he came in, he was kind of very adamant that you've got to be playing for your clubs. For one, he isn't really playing for West Ham. No. And for two, whenever he does, he seems to make really, really poor mistakes. It's blatantly a confidence thing with Joe Hart. You know, I think when Pep came in, you know, Pep looked at him and he just wasn't a Pep player, was he? You know, instantly, you know, got a City fans' backs up. Myself, you know, I couldn't believe he was getting rid of Joe Hart. But actually, whether that was the start of the end for Joe Hart, I don't know. Or whether Pep just identified that maybe he wasn't all that, you know, particularly distribution-wise. So, I mean, Southgate has a lot of nice things to say about Joe Hart. Apparently, he's been fantastic in this squad, with the squad since they've been away. And he's been great helping it. But, you know, I do think it's probably time that he moves over now.
What about experience? Because I think that might be the decision that he might play because of that. I don't think, you know, I like Joe Hart. I think he gets unfair criticism, but yeah, he makes mistakes. Every goalkeeper, Courtois the other day, I'll go for Joe Hart to start.
I mean, I can't fault him from what saw. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was always weak to his left. I think anything kind of to his left, inside post, I think he wasn't really sharp enough. His positional sense wasn't as good as maybe a top level keeper should be. But, you know, I don't get inspired by Pickford. I don't get inspired by, Forster or who else was in the squad this time? I can't think of.
I've gone blank.
Yeah, Butland. You know, none of them really inspire me. So maybe this is just a bad batch of England keepers, and maybe he will go with experience, Mickey. Maybe he'll think, well, listen, Joe Hart, you know, has been there. I've seen him have performances for City. I can, off the top of my head, a couple. Barcelona at home.
Yeah, I can see one against Madrid. If I'm thinking
Madrid, Tottenham on the opening game of the season a couple of seasons ago. He was ridiculously good. But the problem is, there 2, 3, 4 years ago, maybe he's not that keeper anymore. But I think confidence plays a big part in it. So maybe the fact that Gareth Southgate gives him a bit of confidence back by saying, you know what, you're going to be my number one, maybe that would inspire him to put the performances in. But it's a risky game because, you know, when Gareth Southgate's job's on the line with decisions like that.
It's on the line as well.
You've got to get it right.
It was sort of making you feel that they're going to put the goal in the back of the net. Rashford, Vardy, Lingard, Sterling.
Vardy, for me, I think, you know, without Kane, if he doesn't play, Vardy will get the nod. I mean, Rashford, of course, I do like him, but maybe Vardy, maybe slightly go with him. He's more direct, isn't he?
Yeah. It's difficult because, again, Rashford's not been playing, has he? So, I mean, does he... In theory, justify. Well, he hasn't anyway. He's not really had many minutes on the pitch, has he, this year for United? So it's difficult to say he justifies a place in the England team. If I was picking the England front line now, this, you know, it'd be interesting to get people tweeting or message or give us a call on this. You know, I like the idea of Vardy, Kane and Sterling as a front three. So maybe playing Vardy wide.
I think he's still all right.
I do. I rate Vardy. I think he's the pace that he's got, and he's a finisher. So, would I have him in my squad? Yeah, without doubt. Would he get a start? For me, he would. He would, alongside Kane and Sterling up top.
Yeah, I think that is determined on your opposition you play against. I think he'd be very reluctant to go with those 3 players.
Maybe against the likes of Belgium, it probably wouldn't be a sensible idea.
Kane maybe,
we like attacking football, though, Mickey. Yeah. You're getting Jose Mourinho eyes there. This is what it is.
I've had a heavy weekend.
You've had a heavy weekend. Listen, we need to get your contributions in. Give us a call 0345 111 7625. Got a thought on England number 1 or who you'd like to play up front?